All right, today we're going to be talking about Utah's resource management. This is a large topic of debate all over the United States, but especially here in the West, where federal government owns a large percentage of land. In Utah, the federal government owns around two-thirds of the land. That's in national parks, national forests, BLM land, things like that. And two that we're going to talk about today are Dinosaur National Monument and Bears Ears National Monument. We'll start with the Dinosaur National Monument by watching a little video about Utah's dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, and this was a show that I watched a lot as a little kid. And other people thought this was neat, including Andrew Carnegie, who was at times one of the wealthiest men, if not the wealthiest man in the world. And he sent Earl Douglas, this guy with the brontosaurus behind him, to search for dinosaur bones in Utah and Colorado. He found, essentially struck gold, and began to excavate some of the most intact and incredible dinosaur specimens up until that point and still today. Those very molds of those very skeletons are displayed proudly in the Carnegie Museum right now. However, the Carnegie Museum hoarded all of these bones and wouldn't sell to the federal government to display in their museums like the Smithsonian. And there was a lot of conflict here. So the question was, they had the permits, they were able to do what they wanted with the land, but how could the federal government sort of make sure that they didn't abuse the land, they didn't strip it of all of the resources that were there, as well as having their own kind of selfish ideas of wanting bones for themselves. Eventually, after a lot of frustration and a lot of lobbying from a lot of different people, this quarry was abandoned by the Carnegie Museum, thinking that it was empty, but then was retaken by the federal government and excavated, and they discovered this amazing quarry of more dinosaur skeletons, which are on display today. This is a really beautiful place. I recommend it to anyone that has interest in dinosaurs or just wants to do something cool. It's out in Vernal. It's pretty amazing. The second one we're going to talk about is Bears Ears National Monument. I got to go there last summer to do a 4-day backpacking trip with my family, and it was stunning. Little did I know, I was not actually in the National Monument anymore, because this is a modern struggle in the idea of resource management. At the behest of the Intertribal Coalition, which is 5 of Utah's Native American nations came together and asked that this sacred land be protected. They appealed to President Obama to create Bears Ears National Monument. He complied. It wasn't quite as big as they were expecting, but it's twice the size of Rhode Island. It's massive, and preserved a lot of cultural and sacred sites. However, Utah's government was not very happy because so much of Utah's land was already controlled by the federal government. So the Trump administration, with lobbying from uranium miners and the Utah federal government, and including a lot of local residents who liked having the land be open, which is interesting because they were still able to use it to hunt and fish, certain parts of it, of course, but and do the things that they wanted to do on the land. Donald Trump reduced the size to a much smaller portion. Now, this people can draw their own conclusions about this, obviously, but the place that I went was rich. It was beautiful. It was full of these hundreds of years old Native American ruins. There were pottery shards everywhere, amazing pictographs, and it was really an amazing place, and it makes me sad to think that this is no longer protected by the government. But anyway, that is the discrepancy that is going on right now. President Biden promised that he would restore the size of Bears Ears National Monument, but right now there's a lot going on talking about the Antiquities Act. The Antiquities Act was signed by President Theodore Roosevelt, enabling the president to set aside land, which is especially beautiful or important to um, be preserved by the federal government. He immediately created 17 national monuments, including Olympic National Park in Washington and the Grand Canyon, places that could be used for a lot of things, but now we get to enjoy as stunning and stunning places that invoke pride in Americans. There's a lot of dialogue going on with a lot of different background information and precedents that have yet to be set. No president has tried to reduce a national monument by so much before. So really, the question is who gets to decide? The president has the right to create. Does he have the right to reduce the size of a national monument? Should we respect the wishes of these Native American tribes who have really a lot of importance religiously and culturally in these lands? Do we talk to the state government or the residents of the state? There's a lot of dialogue here that needs to be discussed, and hopefully at some point we can come to a consensus. Hopefully soon. Anyway, that is my research. For the lesson, there will be a lot of studying these documents that we talked about, creating a graphic organizer. There will be some debating, and it'll be a great opportunity for students to be able to think about something that there's maybe still not an answer to. Hopefully there will be by then, but they'll be able to come to their own consensus and then be able to debate that with the class and be able to get their point of view across and understand what's important to them. So yeah, thank you very much.